Hey guys, it's Monday. I know y'all at work, but we make your Mondays so much better. So this is another episode of Whoreible Decisions. I'm your girl Mandy.
I'm Wheezy, and apparently I am really hoeing on the front lines because there's a nigga sitting next to me with a bunch of rope.
So this episode, if you ain't read the title, is B is for Bondage. Weezy and I just had her friend on an episode of our Patreon, and she titled it A is for Anal. So it only made sense that now we're on B. Let's go ahead and get it going like that. So I guess before we start, go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you do.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Sir Dashington. I am a erotic visual performance artist. I am a healer. I am a dom. I do a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
You sound a little passive to be a dom. Do you find? Yeah, you feel very calm and you're soft spoken. I feel like people always assume that doms are like, yo, I'm da da da.
Right.
Do women ever say that to you, that they're surprised that you're a dom later because you're so soft spoken?
I kind of thrive off the concept of people not, getting caught up in whatever they see and whatever the mirages they see. They want to claim it and say, okay, dom is supposed to be this type or whatever. But I'm the type of person, I really don't fall into any type of box. That's, you can say, if you say, yeah, I'm this, then somehow I'm gonna not somehow fit that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how kind of I made this whole thing work for myself.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, go around and say, yeah, I'm a dom. I don't never call myself a dom, really. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The reason I brought that up is like a lot of women have said things to me, like when I talk about doms in my life, asking if, they're like super assertive or if they make me feel like I even have a choice, things like that. And it's like realizing that being a sub is the choice, relinquishing that power to somebody, and a dom having, the honor of being dominant to you.
Right.
Like, it's not, every dom isn't one and the same. You don't have to think, it's someone out here with a whip ready to like make you get on your knees and beat the shit out of you. It's absolutely what you asked for.
Right. It's absolutely what you asked for. And I feel like there's different types of doms, you know what I'm saying? And when you get into it, you start to realize there's different type of there's some doms that are really sadistic and they really get off from getting pain, and then there's some guys like myself, I'm more of a sensual dom. So and I like to do that within the realm that I'm doing it with. I'm not like living 24/7. I'm not expecting nobody to,
Yeah.
I still want a powerful
We're
black
allowed
woman.
to like eat what we want.
Yeah, I still want a powerful black woman that makes her own decision. That's a boss. That when it comes down to the bedroom, and when I make my faces, when I show her certain things, and it's ready to make that move, she already knows where to go. I don't even have to
Essential
say
dom
anything.
kind of reminds me of a King Noir. Like, he's very sensual in his videos and how he even treats a woman, but he's very much a dom. So you said you're an erotic visual artist.
I'm a writing visual performance artist.
Performance artist. And that is your full-time job, or is this a hobby?
It's my full-time thing.
Your full-time? Oh, so you into bondage full-time?
Well, it's not that I'm into bondage full-time. What happens is I started doing this as an artist. I'm an artist. So I was doing shows out in Brooklyn. I had this party called the Mad Tea Art Party. I was giving everybody shroom tea, getting them zooted on shrooms. And I would do these scenes where I have girls dancing in front of a canvas, and I would throw paint on them. And then
while on shrooms?
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's all some trippy shit. Even all this stuff I do is all some trippy, shroomed out shit that I just started from back in the day.
And I just want y'all to know, if y'all are not watching us on YouTube, we are sitting across from a black man with dreads. This is not, because I associate like the shrooms and like those type of parties, to be white people shit. So.
Shit, man. To be real, all these fucking plants come from people. That's a medicine that comes.
I just kind of don't fall into any of those. I don't. I never let whatever I am or whoever people think that I am stop me from doing anything I want to do or try to do. So I didn't even like think about it like that in that realm. But I start these events, and then one of my homegirls told me to spank her with whips dipped in paint and make a canvas painting. And I'm like, oh, fuck, hell yeah, I'm going to do this shit. And I actually started looking it up to see if anybody was doing this shit, and I didn't see nobody doing it. And then I seen girls tied up. And me being a Cub Scout, a Boy Scout, I was a Pathfinder. I grew up like I had to learn my knots to get my little badges and shit. So as soon as I saw that shit, I was like, oh, I could do that shit. I'm going to tie her up first, and I'm going to boom, 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 boom. And literally I
just brought it to the Boy Scouts.
Literally,
I guess that's where you learned to tie your first knot.
Yeah, literally I brought it to the church, because we come down to it was like a church Boy Scout program.
Oh, shit.
They had little soldiers. Then they put the little soldiers into us and shit.
That shit is really hard to do, bruh. when I was in Japan, like they had a section of a sex store that was all about like taking a class and learning how to tie. So I sat in there for like 5 minutes. They didn't speak English, but I was like, oh wow, okay. Like YouTube really helps, but that shit is really hard. And
literally,
you gotta be strong.
I started this shit, like literally I went to YouTube a week before my show, learned one fucking tie, how to do this shit like 20 times, whatever I gotta do, and figured it out, and did that one tie for the show, and did it from there. And once I did that show, people were like, yo, that shit is, when you doing it again, girls, like, I'm next.
Oh yeah, you were like, sent in by about 3 of our followers on Instagram, and they're like, if y'all do bondage, you have to get this guy on. So your page has been sent multiple times, and I know we talked even last year.
Yeah, that shit has been over the years.
We've been talking, I know, for a long time, so I'm glad we finally got to get you on.
Get to have someone that like we've been chatting with for a while.
Right.
I was just thinking too, when you mentioned tying someone up, we had a guest a few weeks ago, Liz Goldwyn, who talks about a friend of hers who tied her up and it took 3 hours. What's the longest? And she was completely bound, I think. Like, what's the longest it's ever taken you to tie someone up?
Well, see, me being a performance artist, and I think about the show. I think about people watching. How many people, how long is it going to get people's attention span? So I do different things to intrigue people while I'm doing a tie, so it doesn't look like you're just getting tied up for a long time. But I do sessions that my sessions that I have my clients, 2 hours minimum.
2 hours minimum.
Yeah, 2 hours minimum. You know what I'm saying?
2 hours minimum of being tied up.
Well, it's not gonna be tied up for the whole time. Like what I do is I start off with a consultation in the beginning. We talk. I find out what you're comfortable with, what you're not, your do's, your don'ts. We kind of vibe out. We laugh, we joke. You know what I'm saying? And then then I just get into the session. You tell me what you want to do. I sent you guys earlier. I have like a whole menu. You tell me what things you want to do. You can mix them up however you want to do within the time frame you want to do it. And I come to people. I go to them. I travel to them.
You do in-house calls.
I do in-house calls.
So is that how you make your money?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I do that, and I do a lot of shows.
Do you consider it sex work?
It's weird. It's a weird line because I feel like it's. For me, it's not sex work. Like as far as I'm concerned, like I ain't putting my dick out and insert in nobody. So that to me, I'm not having sex.
However,
do you think stripping is sex work?
Strippers, yeah, I was about to say strippers dance and they're not having intercourse, but they're considered a line of sex work. And
right.
I'm not gonna read off the prices because we'll give your booking if anyone's interested. But I want to read off some of your services, and then maybe we can be like, how can you not consider this sex work? So some of the services that Sir Dashington provides is Goddess Pampering Service. It's all sensual play, no pain or ropes, but that's optional.
It's optional.
It is optional. So real quick, I'm actually going to compare that to a boyfriend experience, a BFE, because a lot of that, or GFE for girlfriends, they don't necessarily have to have sex, but it's more of the intimacy.
It's more of the intimacy. Some people want to touch, people want to cuddle, people want to. It's all that stuff. So it's more
Escorts
based around that.
And they're sex workers, just so you know, because we're about to get you to reclaim your sex work title. The next one is Toyland. So that includes ropes and sex toy sampler. You have a spank and paint, which includes ropes and floggers dipped in paint, which you explained. Electrocutioner, electroplay, and toy ropes optional. Can you explain what electroplay is?
Electroplay is just like a whole unit of things people like to play with electricity. And so there's toys, there's the neon wand, which has like a little dial on it, and you can kind of touch the wand, kind of table. It's a really, really light version of it. You can control the volume of how hard and how high it is. So you find people's really good spot. If you do it really at a nice level, it could tickle somebody. I've seen people laugh until they bust a nut.
What are places they normally want to be electrocuted?
I take them. Well, I usually don't give them a choice. We usually get tied up and stuff like that. So I get to tantalize and mess with you and find your sweet spot. That's my niche. That's my thing.
Is everyone's spot different?
Everybody's different. You know what I mean? Before I start a session, like if I do a session most time, I sniff the girl from head to toe. When I sniff her from head to toe on some old primal shit, I swear to God, I sniff her from head to toe, and when I finish sniffing her, basically I connect in with her body, and her body kind of tells me.
I did this recently during like a body worshipping session. I was talking about on our Patreon episode how like we did a lot of foreplay for an hour. Yeah, it wasn't like a weird sniff, but it was like really going down and smelling my entire body.
Yeah, sniff your entire body.
That shit is kind of hot to me.
It actually like locks me into your energy and your vibe. It's weird. And then from there, literally, I pride myself off of women. I have to say, yeah, you have to do A, B, C, D. From there, I read your body, and I teach people how.
Man,
to
y'all need to listen to this because that's what y'all need to be doing.
I have classes, and I try to teach guys.
I'm sorry, I did say it wrong. I was the one who did it. I used the wrong wording. Like. His hair to beard, neck, chest. Like, I love the smell of just, I don't know. There's those pheromones that like you
there's
just
pheromones.
can't.
There's stuff you can't even explain. It's hard to even say. There's things. Sometimes my sessions, things happen that are like really hard for me to explain. Like what happened is literally out of my hands. I feel like.
Can they tell you're doing it? Because I don't know if he knew what I was doing.
Yeah, people tell me what I was doing. I've done stuff where I'm doing stuff where I'm not even touch people's body, and when I pull up, their whole body lifts the fuck up, and I'm just like they had strings.
Well, it's energy. I mean, that's the real thing with erotica, right? It's like figuring out a way besides penetrative or even sometimes your genitals of like turning each other on.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one kind of goes without explanation. It's wax on, wax off, which is wax play. You have rope therapy, rope bondage for beginners, sensual dominance for men. So is that you teaching sensual dominance to men?
Those last 3 are classes. These are classes. Those are like courses I teach or trainings or lessons. I do rope bondage for beginners. I do rope therapy is different. Rope therapy is where I tie people up and we talk about things that are actually binding them and holding them down, and we go through breathing exercises, and then I release them in a representation of like letting that shit go. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And getting past certain things, certain trauma. A lot of women come to me with different trauma. They haven't came in forever, or they don't know how to squirt, or they don't know how to do these different things. So they come to me, and I show them how to do it, and I do these things to them and release and show them how to climax.
All right. These next two, or the last two that we'll talk about. You have one that's called "What's for Dinner." Food porn. Depends on the menu. The menu price may vary for this, but you climax with food or dinner served in a kiddie bowl.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, sometimes I'll tie her up. And I'll like raid her refrigerator, cook a whole fucking meal.
Wait, what? Wait. You raid in her refrigerator?
Raid her refrigerator, make a fucking meal, and then put that shit in a bowl and then feed it to her like an animal.
Yo, shut up.
And this is coming from a Negro.
Yo,
everybody.
Shut up.
One of our own.
This last one that I want to talk about, if you can, what the fuck is it? You do a unicorn kidnap, and this is the most expensive on the goddamn
unicorn
things.
Kidnap is basically an organized kidnap where you the day. Listen, you know the day.
We a lot of people have seen that in the bonding first episode.
You know the day, but you don't know when and where I'm gonna snatch you up from. And then I get a U-Haul van, and I snatch your ass up, and I'll tie you up in the van, take you to the location, and then do a whole full BDSM scene. Yeah. So
this is kind of playing into. I was having this conversation actually. Oh my God! It was with Jill Soloway. So we met up with this lady in LA. It was me, her, and Beard Bay, and I was like, there's a lot of guilt that surrounds me around rape fantasies, and I'm like, all I want to do is give someone a key to my house, right? Give them like a 3-day span. Don't tell me when you come in, but also fuck the shit out of me when you get there. I don't want it to be like, because unwanted is a porn category, which I don't like that. I more so want like the excitement of it. Like I don't want to be like really saying no. I just want it to be like, ooh, are you taking me?
Right.
I feel so bad. Like that whole unwanted thing. There's actually
I don't like playing rape plays.
Because there's a difference between what you're talking about and rape.
Yeah, that's different. There's that, and then there's actually like I've had girls that I was having sex with and they're saying, "Rape me, daddy, rape me, daddy, rape me," screaming that shit loud as fuck, and I'm just like.
Whoa, right, whoa.
I ain't stopping. I'm like,
you know why? Because it's that fucking like, Dom shit. They think that's part of it.
And then it's playing into this shit because then she thinks I'm playing. I'm really like, listen, shut the fuck up. Like, can't be screaming that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody can come kick down the door and kick my ass.
It's so crazy. There's this porn that I've been watching recently, and it's so it's along the unwanted thing. What is it? It's called Mall something, but basically they're in like a back room where like you get caught for shoplifting, and so it's all these guys that get caught for shoplifting, and in order for the police or for the mall security not to call the police, he's like, you gotta fuck me. So if all these men like, no, I don't know, but okay, just because I don't want to go to jail, and then he starts making the guys like suck his dick, and then like he also like records it, so you see like a camera phone angle, then the actual room angle. And it's really like some unwanted shit because these are all straight men that now are having to suck dick to keep out of jail. So it's kind of some weird shit.
I want you to go back really quick to talking about the releasing the ropes and the releasing the traumas. Like, I don't really know if we've ever talked about this on the show, but I do know what you're talking about. I've heard about it and read about it. Can you talk about that one more time? Like, just how, much like when doing certain type of psychedelics or drugs, right? We just brought up ayahuasca. It's funny, I'm bringing it up again. They say that you go through this period of darkness to then, release it and feel better. Even throwing up during it is that ritual, is like letting all of those demons go, like releasing yourself. Talk about the trauma and like how untying the ropes breaks it a little bit.
Well, I've noticed that with the tying the ropes, what I do is I make sure that when I do this session, that we have a nice full consultation before we even start. So I know exactly what we're talking about. We're getting into, and then I kind of once I get to a certain place where I know I'm hitting certain trigger areas, then it's like, okay, it's time to tie you up, and then I tie them up into this situation, and then from there I kind of start asking them certain questions. It's kind of like let them speak upon it. You know what I'm saying? Let them speak upon these things, and people. They talk about it, and a lot of these things are things that people don't really speak to people about, and they cry. You know what I'm saying? They cry. They some people just, they talk about after it's done, like how much better they feel because they got a chance to like really release that stuff, and before I even get into the consultation, I kind of really get into it and talking to them about creating your own reality and creating your own reality with your thoughts and how you think about things and projecting, and manifesting your thoughts. And so this is when we start to get into our breathing exercises. It really kind of hits in, you know what I'm saying? Right. And we sit there, you know what I'm saying? I'll sit there and we sit there and I'll sit there and let you and try to talk you to and keep you in a place where your mind is on black and your focus is on nothing but darkness, you know what I mean? And then try to help pull some of these things out of people. And when I tend to release them from the ropes, either they cry, some people shout, some people come without even me having to do anything, touching their genitals, anything like that's not even the whole point of this stuff. And that's what it is. I've had some sessions where people they feel like they've been through some really traumatic things. And
are they mostly traumatic sexual experiences?
Not all the time. Sometimes it's just things that just fuck up your concentration before you about to bust a nut. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to. Oh, sorry. It doesn't always have to be. It doesn't have to always be something that's crazy traumatic to maybe to everybody, but somehow affected them in a way where they it could be some people people talk shit about them as a kid and they made them really really self conscious, and when they before they get to the point they over fucking think things and blow the moment. You know what I'm saying? Do
you do this with women and men or just women?
Just women.
And do you notice like a certain type of woman, whether it be like their profession or their attitude, or
my clients I know one thing that when I first got into this, and I really didn't realize that, I got into the BDSM. I thought it was about sex, and I thought it was certain things, and I realized that like. By having sex with somebody, doing the whole act, it kind of cuts certain type of connection off. Mm-hmm. And so once I realized, okay, let me take sex out the picture and see how things go, I started realizing that people really open up and really, really open up a whole lot more. And I'm able to tap into them during my sessions in another whole realm. In a lot of my classes, I teach you guys and I teach other people, teach partners, period, is to like take sex out the picture. Sex is fucking you up. Dick and putting dick in the hole, pussy in it, that shit's fucking the picture. If you concentrate on everything else besides that, you're gonna get them to another whole level, and of course you're gonna get some pussy at the end. Like it's just a mind fuck for yourself and for them to like, to get yourself into that realm. If in the back of your mind, your subconscious, you know that you're just trying to get some pussy, you're just trying to get the honey, you're gonna skip certain levels, skip certain signs to get to the honey. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and the thing is too, like sex to most people is like, people ask me like, how do you have sex with a woman? And I'm like, how do I not? Mm-hmm. Like, people's idea of sex is literally pussy and a vagina. So are gay men's virgins? Right. Are lesbians virgins? Like, what is our idea of sex? And to a lot of people, spanking can be sex. Mm-hmm. Choking can be sex. Oral sex, whatever. And I like what you're saying about taking the sex out of it, because our societal view on what sex is kind of fucked up. Like, I've had way better experiences outside of that kind of sex.
I feel like the niche is out of sex. I feel like everybody's having sex. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets to that part. So if you can focus on everything around that and not
kink shit that we're trying to get y'all into.
Right. If you're trying to get everybody to get into that shit, you pull away from that and actually get around everything else around it, you actually become a better lover.
Do you find that there's truth in people that are wanting to be dominated or generally dominant people in their personal lives? We've talked about how, like, cops are always the ones that love to get pissed on or spanked or whatever. Like, that powerful people like that. Have you noticed that trend?
There is that flip. I noticed that a lot of the sisters I deal with, they're not no slouches. They all holding their shit down. They all got their thing going on. They all holding relationships, have families. They have their thing. They're not, not necessarily, they're very dominant. So a lot of them are very dominant in their everyday life. You know what I'm saying? They got to take charge and they got to hold shit down. And they got to this is and that. So when it comes down to in the bedroom, when it comes down to certain situations, they want to they don't want to have to do that.
Relinquish control. Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot of times I have a lot of clients that are escorts and prostitutes and stuff like that, and they actually see me for services too, because literally they getting a bunch of they're having sex for money, and it kind of takes away from they're faking it all day.
And
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you're probably not going to get from a John.
Right. They're faking it all day to do all this and that. And at the end of the day, they're still horny to a certain level, but they don't want no dick because they've been having dick all day. But they still want like non-penetrative services to actually.
My friend is like that.
You know
so
what I mean?
the vanilla shit for this week I actually found, and what it's going to do is get us into discussing the safety around what you do and specifically bondage. So a woman is charged in her husband's kinky sex death. A Maury County woman has been charged with reckless homicide for what her attorney says was the accidental asphyxiation of her husband after he consented to being bound and gagged. The whole family is upset with what occurred. I'm not going to say the name. This is coming from the Daily Herald. We stand by the fact that this was an accident. According to the arrest warrant, the woman placed duct tape over her husband's mouth and eyes, put a ball gag in his mouth, and then tied bandage around his head, leaving only his nostrils showing. She also tied his hands and legs behind his back. Then she left him for 20 hours. Apparently, this was not the first time it happened. Authorities found the 29-year-old's body, and she now faces 12 years imprisoned if found guilty.
There's a lot of accidental suicides like this from the hanging themselves.
If you even just look up, like, bondage, like I guess
laws around bondage laws, like,
or bad bondage, or wrong way. There's literally nothing but stories on top of stories about.
And there's no leeway. There's like if anything ever happens to you, something happens to I am fuck city. There's like when the court of law, I was doing something that I had no business doing.
City.
In the court of law, bondage gets looked at in a certain way too. So they just throw you under the bus as far as if people getting hurt. So
how do you go about being safe with because there are people like I'm sure requested to be left for 20 hours. And what we're going to do this episode, we're also going to get into the 13 types of bondage, and this is on there. And so we're going to go through the different types of bondage, what they mean and how they differ. But for this, so that we don't have to go
my
over it at
like
the
this.
end. How do you say safe?
I look at it like this.
Yes.
Bondage is not safe.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? People want to say, okay, safe. No, it's safe. If you can do it safely, it's just as safe as rock climbing or mountain climbing. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's safe. Like, people can do it, and if you have the skill, you can get up and you can actually do it, and you're able to do it. But if the wrong motherfucker get up on that shit, not know what the fuck you're doing,
and fall, he gonna die.
He gonna fall and fucking die. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it has that type of you have to fake. You have to approach it like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to approach it. Okay, if you're a new beginner, you just don't jump and start getting on the top of the highest, craziest mountain and think you're gonna climb that shit.
So do you carry like scissors to make sure you can cut someone out or something?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is a thing. Another thing.
Whole goddamn
you definitely got to be safe. Where this lady fucked up at, is that she didn't use her own discretion. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I've had a session where one time where I had a girl, and where the ropes were set up, when I twisted the ropes in the middle of the rope, it would choke her. And she's like, harder. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, harder. And at this point, my hand is shaking. I know I'm like at the top of my strength. And then she kind of passes out. And I catch her. And I'm like, yo, what? And she's like, all right. And she wakes out of it. And it was all good. But in my head, I was like, never again. Now, it never. You're going to tell me how much I'm going to do to you. Whatever I'm administering to you, I'm going to determine what I'm going to administer to you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And how much of that I'm going to give you. You know what I'm saying? So if this dude says, yeah, I'm tying my mouth up, double tape my fucking face, throw me in the fucking closet, leave me there for 20 hours, my ass is going to be like, no, I'm not going to do that shit. What I'm first going to say, yeah, sure, pay me. He's going to pay me. Then I'm going to say, all right, now that I have you tied, I'm going to pull you out here in 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a lot of you who have never heard of the tape thing, if you watched, it's a very popular, not documentary, but what's it called? Docu-something.
Bondage.
The assassination of Gianni Versace.
There's a whole fashion line off of shit.
Huh?
There's a whole fashion line of a tape.
Yeah, there is.
You can take that shit with
but in there, he tapes a dude all the way around his face. And I remember Googling it like, oh shit, we have to make this a kink of the week because a lot of people have never seen that. But it's totally common. I've seen it on Real Sex.
I do it with plastic wrap.
Netflix.
I do plastic wrap.
Yeah, Netflix.
I like to take plastic wrap and like I do this thing where I tie the girl from plastic wrap as I got her tied up, and once I get her fully up and she's like locked in, then I just kind of go over her face. She kind of panics a little bit.
That just reminds me of Dexter.
And then it just pop a hole right in her mouth. You know what I mean? Make sure she can breathe. It's just a lot of shit is mind fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people.
I'm claustrophobic. That to me would completely be like.
But there's a thing
where I can't
around
do
my
anything.
face. I couldn't handle it, but
it's one thing where I know that people are gonna. I know people's love, so I'm not gonna sit there and let you fucking start to actually gag for air. It's just whoop, look you in your eyes, pop that shit.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
for
Just
that,
fuck with you. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think? Like, yeah, like how long is someone wrapped up?
What is too long?
Well, usually I can feel it, and I can feel when I keep my people tied up with different things. So when I first start a session, I'll throw a girl in these ropes right here. These are more of a stretchy material. They're made out of a
They like the material of your maxi dress this summer.
It's basically like a bikini
rayon.
It's spandex. You know what I'm saying? I taken made ropes out of it because I was doing stuff on dancers and they couldn't really dance and do what they wanted to do with this. So they still want the look and they still want the glow. So I made these. I literally sew these together and put them together, make them long enough so I can tie somebody up with. And then when I put them on, they glow and I get different materials and flavors and do like that. And I sell the ropes and all that good stuff.
I like that. So we gonna get into, if you guys haven't known already, the kink of the week is bondage. So we're gonna get through these different types of bondage, and if you have anything as far as historical background to them, or if you've done them or have any experiences,
I did all those.
You did. I know. I said this to you before. I was like, can you speak on these? So the first one is shibari, also known as kinbaku. It is one of the oldest and most popular types of bondage today. This form of bondage originated in Japan and is known for using silk ropes, artful tying skills, and layering ropes to turn the bound person into work of art. So is that pretty much what you would consider what you do?
I do shibari.
This one, and I think Weezy may have a story about this, it's gagging. So gags are one of the most common bondage-related sex toys on the market. And she actually brought one to the live show. If you guys came, it may have been New York show last year. But this is a whole genre of bondage. The concept behind gagging is to either bind someone in a way that makes it impossible to speak or breathe if you're into breath play, or to force someone's mouth open. Do you want to let them know kind of the ball gag, or I don't think she had a ball gag, of the gag that you did at the live show?
Yeah, it just had holes in it. It's just a ball gag. Like, there can be all different kind of ball gags. Like, this one is, I guess you could compare it to a belt, right? And you put it on. I like the holes in it because it's easier for me to breathe
through. That's why they make the holes from.
Yeah, but some people don't need that. They go through their nose.
Yeah, some people breathe through their nose, and the holes are so. To me, the holes ones help you breathe a little bit easier, which makes the saliva don't build up so fast. But the one with the ball, the holes in your mouth, you'll drool a lot with it.
Which is truthfully like a lot
for me,
of
that's
the
the point
sexiest
I like
part.
out of the gag.
That's
like,
what you like about it.
I don't care to like keep you from speaking. Like I want to hear all that shit, but I also want to gag you and just see you just fucking. Just
drool.
Yeah, all the spit.
The drool is my favorite part of it, but I have such a bad gag reflex. I'll drool like regardless. But I think I don't know. It's funny because like there's such small amounts of gagging that people don't even realize they've had done to them, right? Whether it be like a pillow in your mouth or like putting something in your mouth to make you quiet. Like it's all just using one thing or another. Like I think that gagging can be super sexy for you, either like the quiet thing or like the drooling, which a lot of people don't realize.
I remember
right?
a hand gag. That's how like you reach around and you basically gag her with your own hand, or like a bite, like right here, just meat right here in your hand, and just tell her to bite it, and you just hold it. And you hold it.
Right, it's like when you're...
Yeah, you just hold it right in her...
So
like right in her,
even though that doesn't mean not sound like gagging to y'all, when something's deep enough, think about like going to the dentist when like they put something in there and, you're like, and you have to clamp down.
Right.
When you do the x-rays, right, and they put it deep enough, it makes you gag. That's the same with the hand gag. I've had that too.
So the next type of bondage is sensory deprivation. This one specifically I've shared on the show that I'm not into because I was stealthed while doing this. So sensory deprivation is one or more extreme types of bondage, and it's the practice that uses restraints to reduce your ability to hear, feel, or see things around you. The most common example of sensory deprivation gear is the ever-present blindfold, as we all know. There's actually, in extreme cases, sensory deprivation chambers. Do you know anything about those?
Yeah, they're like soundproof rooms you can go in where you can't hear anything. Those are not
really
extreme.
That's really extreme, right?
You get some of them little soft earplugs. You put the earplugs in. You can blindfold them.
And then they don't really see what's about to happen or hear. Okay, that could be exciting. Maybe I don't know about the blindfolding again. I
like to use. Well, I realized that to tap into people the way I want to tap into them, there's got to be some sensory deprivation going on, and there's got to be some sensory of other type of feels going on. So I use a feather and like a spike at the same time. I like to give pleasure and pain at the same time as I'm doing it, and it kind of sends your mind into this weird place. If you can't see it and you don't hear when it's coming, that's another thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's very interesting. It's crazy too because the amount of trust
even when you can hear, I creep in my bag. I keep my bag really slow. I don't want you to hear shit. I hold things you don't hear which whip I'm gonna grab, because some people, after they know my stuff, they know what it sounds like. They know, they hear the shit rattle and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? So sometimes we use that to fuck with them. I also do this other thing too where I have them blindfold for a little while, and then when I take the blindfold off, I show them a blade, and I pop the blade in front of them.
Oh, nice.
And then look, then I put the blade, then I blindfold them back, grab baby oil and a credit card, and slice it across their chest, and put the baby oil at the same time. It shit feels like they're getting sliced open, and they fucking freak out.
Okay, now I don't know about that.
It's just to fuck people's minds up.
I want to feel it like on my arm.
Bullshit.
There's
some white people shit.
There's a very vanilla blindfolding fantasy I have.
It just fucks me. Somebody put me onto that shit, and I was like, yo, I love it.
Dexter, didn't I say Dexter earlier? That's what this shit I'm telling you.
Like, I don't know what kink of the week we did recently, but it's like that operation thing with being sliced. One of my friends, there's a place in the Orlando called the Woodshed. Shout out to James, my friend. And he was telling me, like, yo, there's a guy that came up to me with like mad cuts all over him. Like, he's super into that shit. And he's like, they do it all the time, like in a super safe way. Like, the people that know how to do it can.
Super safe way.
Well, I mean, that's where you go, and there's a professional that does it. Probably much like yourself, right? You'll probably you could get a little bit of a mark.
I don't do no blood play. Like, I don't want to see
blood
no blood.
Play is crazy too.
I don't play no blood. I don't
because that's when someone makes it feel real. There's even like on Pornhub, like the fake blood scenes where it's like super.
It's just like,
no, I have a blindfold like fantasy that I'm like really excited to do soon. Where, so like during a threesome, I really want to be blindfolded, but like and bound, so like I can't really do anything, and like if they let me taste something maybe, but like basically just sit there and have to listen to like everything that's going on, and then if I'm allowed to like masturbate, great. But I'm so hyped. I got the JetBlue mask ready.
You ready? I'm like, hey.
I was on the plane. I was like, don't even buy one now.
For sure. Yeah.
The next one is really interesting, and I don't know if anyone has ever asked you to do this. The next one is actually humiliation bondage. For some people, the elements of BDSM that turn them on are the concepts and situations behind them. Humiliation bondage is one of those. For example, a form of situational bondage would be tying up someone naked in public just so people would point and laugh. Or it may involve using a gag that has a toilet brush on the end and forcing a slave to clean the toilet. Humiliation bondage is incredibly versatile when it comes to both the tools and situation it can include, just as long as humiliation is involved. Has anyone ever asked you for this sort of bondage? Yeah,
I mean, it could be done in different extremes. There's different extremes. It could be a humiliation where people want to be outside and be humiliated, or they just, or they want to be embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it could be as simple as some people just want to be called slut, dirty, nasty, this and that. Like, be a fucking verbally abusive, you know what I'm saying? And it could be just in the bedroom, you know what I'm saying? It could be like, yo.
So it doesn't have to be in public.
Yeah, it could be just in the bedroom, and it's just humiliation within the dynamic. You know what I mean? You call her hoe outside, gets knocked the fuck out.
So the next
one was cool.
The next one is what we talked about. It's facial bondage, which is exactly what it sounds like. Facial bondage and gagging often go hand in hand. But the difference between these two types is actually that gagging is specifically focused on a person's mouth, while facial bondage tends to focus on the entire face.
Is this facial bondage?
Yes, eyes, cheeks, nose, and everything else.
I have some stuff where I tie people's face like that. That's facial bondage too, but also facial bondage would be I've also tied girls' face into my lap and like just tied their face into my lap.
Shut up.
Yeah. You can't even they can only pull their head up only for so far because the ropes are right there. I can always just spin my fingers.
So they don't be sucking dick?
Yeah, he's like, this is not for a show. This is
you
my
a sex
personal
worker,
shit.
man. You a sex worker.
No, this is my personal shit. This is my personal shit.
Okay.
I do it in 3 different realms. So I have like my artsy fartsy stuff.
That's all right. We don't want the IRS coming for you either, nigga.
Yeah, no, I have my artsy fartsy stuff that I do for show, and I do for shows. I do lessons with people. People just want the rope sometimes. This and that. And I have my clients, which are the fetish services I showed you guys.
Right.
And then I have my personal situations. You know what I'm saying? Which I would have my whoever's.
Heard you, sir.
Heard.
The next one is predicament bondage. Predicament bondage is bondage that's done to put people in a more uncomfortable situation, which is actually probably what you just talked to. This could be anything from being hog-tied with a massager across the clitoris to being forced to ride a horse while tied in an awkward position. The entire thing that makes predicament bondage a different kind of BDSM is the fact that it's designed to make the submissive squirm uncomfortably.
Right.
So that's probably kind of more what you talked about.
I do that a lot. It's forced orgasm.
Shout out to Liz Goldwyn. She was just on the show and she talked about how she knows someone who did the hog tying and it like became emotionally like draining for her to be into that position for as long as she was, and then also untying, but it was hours of it. How long do you normally spend hog tying? Maybe
it depends. It depends on the person.
Whether it's paid or in personal life.
I usually don't do nothing longer. Have nobody in the ropes longer than 2 hours. And,
2 hours.
And for that to happen, that means we had to been in the situation for at least 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? But I do is I'll untie somebody and put them in another position. I'll tie from one position. I'll tie them 3 or 4 times if I want to. You know what I'm saying? If I have to. You know what I mean? I'll tie you in a certain position so I can get to a certain way, and then I'll flip you over, tie you in another position, and then tie it to a cross. Then I just...
Yeah.
You know, I flip it. I have no sense to not keep somebody. My thing is this: if I tie a person in a position that they're actually comfortable sitting in, I can play longer. I can get to I can get to them better. If I gotta change them, pull them out and change them out, because realistically is that if somebody's hurting or in their pain, I don't want to hurt. I don't want to injure nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to injure nobody. So you gotta, when you tell me you got a fucked up knee, you got a fucked up elbow, and I'm not gonna take your arm and jack it behind your back or have you on your knees. That I know your knees fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Or if you ever in a position you're like, that's just really fucking hurting. Hey, I'm gonna stop right there and pull you out right there. None of that shit.
Have you ever had to cut someone out?
I never had to cut nobody out, but I had to take people out and read them. I've had people who had like panic attacks in the middle or like ropes, and I have to like just rub their hair and just be like, listen, if you keep pulling the ropes.
And do you keep like you do it again?
Yeah, and actually we smoked some weed and then we started over and then we finished the session. It was dope, yo. She just needed to get higher. Wasn't high,
before it got tighter.
I'm gonna go through about 2 more, and then we're gonna maybe do a little quick demonstration. The next one is hair bondage. Hair bondage is often done to restrict movement, add a certain psychological layer of subservience to a sub, or for that incredibly appealing pulling sensation that many people love to feel. So what I'll do for our patrons is there's actually a video of the basics of hair bondage, but what it does is kind of give you that effect of maybe when you ask a guy to pull your hair in the bedroom, and it actually has her sitting down and tying. So I'm gonna make sure you guys who are patron members get to see that. This last one is probably the most interesting, and so I wanted to get into this before we take it back to maybe a little bit more vanilla bondage. This one is called mummification / vacuum sealing.
I do that with plastic wrap.
I've seen the flat vacuum sealing.
This one looks crazy, and I'm also going to post that for you guys too. So mummification and vacuum sealing are 2 types of bondage that either terrify people, soothe people, or turn them on. That being said, it isn't the type of bondage for people who are claustrophobic, like myself. This type of bondage uses either bondage tape, a leather suit, a latex suit, or a vacuum bed to give people a full body bondage experience. Almost every inch, except for maybe your head, will be covered with material during this kind of bondage. Regardless of the method used, this is considered an extreme form of restriction bondage. Depending on how extreme you are with your bondage practice, you may or may not be able to breathe. So this is definitely brings in the element of breath play, but also being to where this kind of probably isn't something you want to do without a professional, or something you definitely want to do as much research in as possible before you try it with your partner.
I say that too, and I say just trusting your partner. I mean, you need to have a partner that listen. If you looking at them like, this shit is not, or they start bugging the fuck out, they're gonna just stop. And if you got
safe words are important.
Yeah, safe words or just I tell people they could pick a safe word. I was like, you can pick a safe word. They're like, what's my safe word? I was like, whatever you want it to be. Like,
what are some of the safe words you've heard?
I don't pick a safe word. I let them choose a safe word because I want.
What are some of the funny ones you've heard?
All kind of stuff. All kind of people just whatever.
Think of one.
I get all kind of stuff. I get Like literally,
Yesterday, a guy said "kumquat" was his.
Kumquat. Because he said, when else will I use the word kumquat?
See, that's cool, but see, I tell people don't use nothing crazy. I say use something that's just gonna come off your tongue really easy. Like stop. If you just say stop, and I'll stop. Like you don't gotta have nothing crazy because if you're in pain, if you're in a certain situation, sometimes you
might forget
that extra like I said stop, and remember your first word that could break your fucking arm. And you say, or you could choke the fuck out. Like this shit is serious. So I'm like it ain't gotta be that fucking serious. If it ain't serious, this serious for me. If you squirming wrong, like you is really hurting you, I'm gonna let up a little bit. I'm not
what were you doing the last time that someone used it with you?
Last time it was spanking. Usually it's spanking. That's
paddles. When I use it.
Paddles.
It's funny. We did spanking at the LA show, and that's where we were like when to say a safe word. But the girl literally spanked me in the same exact spot. So it wasn't even that she got harder with spanking, but being that it had been done in the same spot multiple times, I was like, okay, girl,
yeah.
Or kumquat or whatever.
See, you should say
kumquat.
But whatever you should be able to say, you should be able to say whatever you say. That should, if you put using common sense, stop means stop. Yeah. Like whatever the fuck.
It does.
I don't care if you say in Japanese. I don't know Japanese, but if you say it and you look at me a certain way, I'm gonna fucking pull back and be like, oh, you good? And just check. Take 2 seconds. Say 2 seconds and be like, you good?
We were talking about yellow.
I go back to it. You know what I mean?
Like as far as like I like yellow and red with spanking because that lets me know like
it's
how much yeah but spanking with the paddle too, the reason I've had trouble with it is because like it doesn't bruise you necessarily but you could still really feel it the next day, and I'm like, yo, it's not purple but like I could barely sit.
It's weird. So some people for most of the black people I don't never get them bruised. They get some bruising, some stuff like that, but not crazy. But I've done a couple white people and I feel like I didn't do nothing much different than I did to my sisters, but their whole shit look like I can't even give them pictures. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make you sign a consent for I even give you the picture because this shit look crazy.
My legs right now are super bruised up, and I was like, I swear I ain't stripping. I don't know what the fuck. I got all these goddamn bruises on my leg. Like I bruised, so I walked in. I was like, I need a banana because I heard potassium helps with the goddamn bruising and shit. Right? That's what I heard.
If you guys ever like do some BDSM and you get really bad bruising, there's a vitamin called bromelain, and the bromelain helps you with bruising. I don't know what it does with blood circulation, but it's just a basic vitamin. Order it on Amazon, and that'll help you.
So I guess we're going to get into, real quick, if we could do a live demonstration of, I guess, let us know what type of bonding you're doing, whether it's to her hands or whatever. But we are on video, so if you have not yet, guys, check us out on YouTube. Majority of our episodes are on YouTube. Shout out to Benson, our videographer. You guys heard him on a recent episode. But definitely check it out. We have Sir Dash about to tie up Weezy. So,
by the way, I hope you asked for consent because Mandy didn't for me.
What's going on?
Well, I didn't ask to be fucked by Sharonis during that episode either. So this is like my payback. This is my payback.
No, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like a simple body harness. Something simple. I like to tie people in body harnesses and this stuff because they can still have the bondage look and still be, your hands and your feet are free. You can still walk around and do what you got to do. You can wear it as an outfit. This is something
I could wear it as an outfit.
Yeah,
so like
I have girls that put these on and I teach them how to self-tie and they literally wear this under their clothes or they can wear this on top of your clothes. Like literally, I'm going to put this over your outfit right here and we're going to make it look fly real quick.
All right, so if you can, while you're tying, just speak up louder just so that, or I can also...
Or even we may even, I don't know how long it'll take.
I'll talk and let y'all know what he's doing. So, again, by the way, shout out to Brittany Duet. She actually lives in LA.
Should I face you or the other way?
And she has a clothing line that's... full bondage outfit. Bondage, yeah. Yes, and it's all really hard ropes.
Yeah, the hard ropes. I've seen
the hard ropes. It's super dope stuff. So if you guys are interested in maybe wearing this as attire,
it's so awkward to look at Benson videotaping me with this smirk, like, yeah, bitch. Okay, our cameras are normally on a fucking tripod, and this nigga got up like, let me get the zoom.
All right, boom.
Okay, so where do you start?
So you like to start in the middle of the rope. The middle of the rope is called the bite. It's the center of the rope.
Bite.
Kind of find both ends, match the ends up, and then I kind of pull the ropes to the center of the rope. That's how I know I got the middle of my rope.
Okay, so for someone wanting to start this on the body of someone, where do you start on the body?
Start here. Boom. You get your thing. You want to get the center of the rope, right? Once you get yourself the center of this rope, then you can put this around her neck here, right?
You're gonna tie her braids. Make sure you get the braids out.
Pull them things out.
Okay.
Now what I do here is I usually measure out. Everybody's different. Everybody's size is different. So I will come in here and bust a knot here.
Bust a knot or a...
You bust a quick, like, it doesn't have to be nothing crazy.
Don't remember that. Bust a knot.
It's a bust a quick knot. You don't have to. It could be just like you tie your shoe. It doesn't have to be nothing complicated.
Okay.
I did all that Boy Scout shit, but honestly, all that stuff is hard to take out when it comes down to undoing your ropes.
So he's tying another knot now near the vagina.
Right. So let's make 2 knots. Now come through here.
Okay.
And now he's going between her legs. So this is where she's gonna start feeling that
come up in here.
she's tied up.
Come here behind her hair. The same piece I put around her neck here, I'm gonna come right up the top of this here and pop that here. Now from there I can start singeing the rope and making it a little tighter.
Singeing?
Right? You feel it?
It's now going up her ass. This could be a cute little bathing suit.
Right. So what I do a lot of times with these dancers, I'll come and I'll put these on them, and they'll go out and dance on the floor. Then I can switch it up for them, or they have the outfit at first, and they'll come and do one of these real quick.
Oh, I didn't suck it in. We do some editing or something.
Oh, let me get it for you. There you go.
Give me that instant. Ooh, he just tied my fupa back into my body.
All right.
And I wear these mom jeans.
Come here, right? Come here, right?
It feels good.
Oh, this looks cool. And so, at this point, does this cause a sexual sensation at all to some people, or
for some people, yeah.
For some, yes.
I put the knots in certain places. She got jeans on, but I like to put my knots
right where the clit is.
Right in the clit, where the clit's at. So when I'm moving around and when I'm getting spicy, she can see what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, it's rubbing her clit while you keep tying.
It feels really good.
And then it's also in her ass. So the back part would technically be in the crack of her ass.
Now, are they naked when you do this?
Yeah.
So you wash these ropes? Because this feels like DV already.
Nah, I do it. I do all this material, so I can always pop them in and wash them, and then I sell them, and most of the time I just give people the ropes after if they mess them up. I'm crazy. I have tons of them.
Mess them up like with what? Their vaginal fluids?
Yeah, they squirt them up.
They squirt them up.
They squirt them up.
They squirt them up.
It's like,
the squirty pussy.
So is there a reason that you go all the way down to, because you're now around her ankles?
yeah,
almost.
Right now I'm just doing this because I like the way it looks. Like if I had the black lights on,
it does look really dope going down my legs. I like what you're doing.
It's almost like making like a little outfit out of it. Like she was naked, it'd be like some old stripper outfit almost.
My mom just asked me why I'm not answering, and I'm like, oh, I'm working.
You turn this
So, for the knot on the clit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you put a knot inside of somebody?
Sometimes if they try to get in my ropes with no drawers on, but I tell people, put some drawers on. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
That's recommended. Like you
Just
don't
a little courtesy.
Yeah, you don't need to. Yeah, save my ropes a little bit. But if you don't have no drawers on,
It'll sit right where it needs to be. So it looks really cool. I like this.
Basically, I'm curious to know.
So now I do something like that, right?
So am I gonna? Am I gonna like sit in this and wear it, and like will it start to feel tighter?
You can sit in it, it'll rotate and move a little bit, but it's still for the most part it's stretchy rope, so it's not gonna go nowhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, it make my butt look bigger than it is. Yo,
I just gave you a fatty real quick.
Big old freak. I can't move though, actually. You bitches twerking?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I can't. I got no boobs. So
it looks really cool.
This is a body harness, and like, do you do a video to where someone knows they can?
But what I do when I sell the ropes, a lot of time I do like a little show them how to tie, because you can do it also yourself. Actually, you mean you literally could have put this on yourself, reach around yourself, and do it different.
Wait, what's this next one you picked up?
These are my other hard ropes. These are for really when I bind people when I'm trying to tie them down.
Let me see something.
So you ain't going.
Could you do something to maybe around her wrists to show maybe how you would?
Well, what doesn't go? Are you up here?
I could do it anywhere. I mean, anywhere we choose to do it. You want to do it around your body?
You know, just for you guys. It's really.
Right. I'm gonna do this. I'm going to lock your arms totally up like that. All right.
Okay.
And is this the most common that people ask, is for the restriction of their arms and hands, or where do you find
people don't really ask
between the legs and the arms? Where do people want to be
don't really get
mostly
specific
restricted?
exactly where they want to get tied up. People just come to me and like, "Are you tying me up?" And then they let me kind of figure it out. I mean, for the most part.
So should I be relaxing my shoulders, or why are they getting tense?
I mean, you can relax them, but you'll see.
He said, "You'll see."
I'm like, wait.
So this is just very interesting. I guess for anyone who's interested in getting this, where could they buy this? At any arts and crafts store? Do they have to buy this at a sex
from
store?
my armpit to my titty. What is this?
Where can they buy these ropes? I know you make the other ones, but this type of rope that you're using now.
These ones I make too. These are all glow in the dark. They look weird because they don't have my lights on them, but these are just like a hot pink rope. Once I put
Oh
the lights
wow!
on it. Yeah.
So what he does, guys, he actually does this with like black light and make it all cool and shit.
So do you do like in calls or something?
Mm-hmm. I go to people's homes, and then sometimes they get a hotel. Sometimes
you bring their black light. You bring a black light.
I bring my black light and everything.
Do you let them videotape it?
Depends on the situation.
If I had an arm, I would snap this. Can you do it for me?
My hand's full.
Help!
This is really, really dope though. I don't know. With me,
Oh my God, yo.
with me, I think. Look, how are you feeling?
I feel fine. I don't feel like unsafe.
You're right.
I mean, there's a whole lot of. We got the lights on. You on camera?
Well, I mean, that's also the other thing. Like, I can't tell you if I just met somebody and, like, they wanted to tie me up and they started doing this, I wouldn't, you know. One, here's the other thing. I've never let someone dominate me that I didn't feel secure with. Like, thankfully, have never had a bad dom experience.
Right. That's
But
always first.
I also wasn't
really comfortable with.
Right. I also have been with experienced doms, so.
And so, what are you doing right now? You're pretty much finishing up the knot.
Finishing up the knot.
And could you turn around so
Why
that
are you getting
they can see what it looks like?
I didn't wear makeup.
Oh wow! So it's still really done very intricately. So
It's really simple. It's a short rope. The longer you
are, the more you can do.
Smaller pieces, because then if I want to add on, I can just add on. And if it's way too long, then I'll be sitting here for a long time, tie up a 50-foot
Right.
ropes. I really get a 25-foot, and then with this right here, I basically have.
And you could
can't
just-
go nowhere, you know.
And how quick does that one get untied? Is it just
Really
kind
quick.
of like
Yeah, it's really quick. Once I
So if
pop.
she had a safe word and was like, "Okay, I'm done." How quick does she get out of this?
My
knot?
safe word is Wakanda. Oh, that's so fast.
That was really fast to get out of that. Okay, so untying is definitely like with the pull of a
couple strings.
couple strings and she's out.
She should be able to get out of it.
Well, that's really, really, really okay. I might have to try these. I mean, I might do the tying up. I don't think I want to be tied. I'm very claustrophobic.
Yo, honestly,
so.
the only uncomfortable part for me is probably like the shoulder restraint. Like not even.
Was
my
I tied it up at the end?
But I mean, but still, never was there a point where I was like, oh my God, this is awful. So can I take thotty pictures? with
Look,
you?
she want to
Go
keep.
for
She
it,
want to
go for it,
keep
go for it.
the string.
I got you.
Listen.
I'm dead.
About to put my titty on the
I
bathroom.
love
I'll give
this.
it back,
Guys, if you guys want to try this, I think it not only does it look hot, and again, I'll even post if you guys are interested in finding bondage lingerie. I know a couple sites where you can get that, and it's cool or whatever. So we are gonna go ahead while he puts the ropes back into his box. We're gonna get into our home mail portion of the show. This one is actually really interesting, especially while it's current, I would say. This one is called, and Sir Dash, if you have any advice on this as well, please chime in.
Will do.
So the title of this one is No Sex During Ramadan, but he's not even Muslim. Hey ladies, I just want to start by saying how much I love you both and how much I've learned from you guys through the podcast. I'm going to get right to the point. I've been dating this guy on and off for like a year now. Last night, I asked him to come over and have sex, and he says he can't because of Ramadan. But the gag is, he isn't even Muslim, and he didn't even start participating in Ramadan until it was 3 days in. Now, I'm not mad because he's choosing to do this for himself and his spirit, but this is something he chose to do without even telling me about till I asked for sex. And he was at my house, laying in my bed the night before telling me about Ramadan and couldn't tell me he wasn't having sex either. I'm not sure if I'm just being a brat because I've been so horny, or if he should have at least communicated this with me, being that he isn't even Muslim. Sorry this was so long, but I'd like to hear what you ladies have to say. Love, I ain't getting none till after June 4th.
So I just pointed at our engineer behind us, Chris. Because I know that I thought you were Muslim. I don't know why I thought that.
Well, I no longer practice, but I used to practice a couple years ago.
Be a Muslim.
Yeah, I used to, practice Islam.
You
a
was
little
on your
bit.
Nation of Islam shit. That's right.
We won't have to get into the details because they do pay attention to shit like this. But anyway,
You like y'all got too many listeners for me to talk about.
I'm just saying, y'all
tell
do.
us about like Ramadan for you and sex.
I
and
participated in Ramadan for 2 years. My first one, I was engaged to a young lady, and yeah, you could have sex actually. It just has to be during the hours of eating and all of that. But yeah, you could pretty much smash, bro. What are you talking about? Like,
So he lying.
yeah, don't. I mean, and if he is though, like I understand and I respect his decision to not smash.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like for Ramadan, you can choose what you're giving up, right?
Honestly, yeah.
It's not like Lent,
Yeah.
is it?
I don't know too much about Lent, but I know you could pretty much have a selection.
I'm gonna be
and
honest
shit,
with you. Like tensions are a little high for me with religion right now in women's bodies, so I'm just like fuck all of them. But
yeah, honestly,
I will say I do think it's kind of weird that this dude randomly decided to
Like,
pop
I'm
up
gonna
and be
give up
Muslim.
sex.
Like, is
It's-
it a keto diet? Are we
it's a little
using
too
Ramadan for
convenient.
like?
Not only that,
weight loss?
he also joined it 3 days late. Like, oh, I see everybody doing Ramadan. Let
Can
me
you do
join
that?
in. Is that a thing you can do?
I feel like that's like almost like a consent almost type of thing. You at any point in time, if that's what you're saying, or there's a reason why you don't want to have whatever it is.
But
that's
to
what it
use
is.
Ramadan as an excuse, I feel like it's okay to do it for self purposes.
If you're doing it for self, purposes,
for
and,
self discipline,
and you have your own self discipline thing, you're trying to take a break or whatever, then just say you're just trying to take a break or this and that. But if you don't. Sometimes some people just want to take a break, but don't have a significant reason why they want to take a break, and so they use whatever Ramadan or whatever, something like that, to maybe possibly, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it just seems like, just be honest with this. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not here for someone using a religion reason as to like, especially when you're late, you don't practice it. I don't know. To me, I would wonder like maybe the communication of why, and really seeing if he's doing it for purpose, or does he understand Ramadan and what it actually means? Because then if it is something to where he's new, because I'm not gonna lie, I lived in Asia for about 6 months, and I was really like interested in Buddhism and what it stood for and what it was about. So if this is something that he's like, maybe I want to convert to this, and this is how I want to start, then I would understand him. But for him just to say, well, it's Ramadan, I gave up sex. Nigga.
I mean, here's the thing too.
Okay, no. Is this the thing? Now, is that what really happened, or is that her version of what she's saying? Because sometimes people just break it down and really get simple with it. So when they explain to you, it's like, yeah, he just
That's a good point. If we could only see the other end of the whole
maybe he did really break it down and really was been studying and really
she
been.
still was like, nigga, please.
Right, and just because she ain't getting no dick, she's just like, fuck this. Yeah, she don't use Ramadan, but he might be really.
I mean, you know.
Right.
He might be really studying
Before
and
we
following.
get up out of here, I want to thank Sir Dash or Sir Dashington for coming through to Whoreible Decisions. I hope that you guys
Thank you for having me.
learned a lot about bondage, but now also may want to bring it into the bedroom. Before we get out of here, can you let our listeners know where they can find you? And we'll also put all of his information in the description of this episode.
Sounds good. Well, my name is Sir Dashington. Thank you guys for having me. First of all,
No, thank you for making it.
You guys can find me at www.eroticropesbydash.com. On Instagram, you can find me at eroticropesbydash3. Twitter, roastbydash. Email, roastbydash@gmail.com.
All of that.
Before we also get out of here, you guys just heard me bring up some reproductive shit. You might have seen me say on Twitter, like I had really just was not in the mood to work today. You know, like it's hard to come in here sometimes when you're just like really in those emotions of what's going on around you. And as someone who's had an abortion and just seen a lot of Twitter slander, and I don't even have a Twitter, like, you know, we post about Whoreible Decision shit, and I was like still really annoyed, whether just seeing the hierarchy of what abortion is okay to people. Oh, yeah, it's okay if, you know, you get an abortion around this time, but not this one. It's okay if you get 2, but not 4, and blah, 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 blah. So I just wanted to look up as much as I can and see what I could do. So I found some stuff. I'm sure all of you probably feel as angry, especially if you're, I guess, open enough to listen to this podcast. So if you don't know, Alabama, it's now illegal to have an abortion after 6 weeks. The trouble with that is that most of us find out we're pregnant around 6 weeks. you know 4 weeks in a month, and then you miss your period, and you're like, oh, and then boom, it's 6 weeks, it's too late. So few things that we can do, right? So if you have, I don't know, 10 minutes of time, you can call one of your legislatives that are in, or anyone that's in Alabama, and leave them a voicemail about how you're feeling affected by this. I'll leave the number in the description. Donate to local grassroots organizations, Planned Parenthood, of course. There's another one called NARAL, and the National Network of Abortion Funds. Actually, anytime someone passes me in the street in New York about the motherfucking dogs, I'm like, dog, I only give my money to black people in Planned Parenthood. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
But I did want to say, volunteering as a clinic escort. So I already looked up a place in Alabama to do it as. Some of you guys saw the Louisville, Kentucky thing on Twitter where these people, there was like 5 escorts for one woman. She like was totally covered, her face, like people were screaming at her, like it's crazy. I know there's Ohio and Georgia that have crazy bans. So if you're in these cities or nearby, maybe make it a girls trip. You know what I'm saying? Go with your friends, do something great for someone else. It's going to do nothing but make you feel good. And I also wanted to talk about just the repercussions of the abortion ban. So currently they're saying this, I don't know how true this is, but they are saying that if you live in Alabama and you go to another state to get an abortion, you can also be charged. Yes, when you come home. So here are a few rules from Planned Parenthood. Number 1, take an at-home test only because of rule number 2. Tell no one. Don't text over the phone, social media. Everybody's like freaking out about it. But 3, when you take your vacation to another state, just go under the guise to sightsee or visit family. And 4, when you obtain the abortion, do not sign any waivers. If you don't sign any waivers for consent to providers to communicate to other ones, you are safe. Look up HIPAA. Your information is federally protected. If the one and only person who knows you had an abortion leaks it, they will go to prison because they violated HIPAA. And unless you've broken the other rules, they're the only ones who know. That was from an anonymous source at Planned Parenthood. So I don't know how true it is that you could go to fucking jail or like be, persecuted for having an abortion in another state, but just keep aware of those things, making sure you don't sign any paper. I would even so much as pay with motherfucking cash for an abortion.
But not only that, there's a lot of laws. There's about 15 states currently affected as well, and more bills looking to be passed. So don't think that we aren't going to speak on this. We have had an episode where Weezy and I both opened up about our abortions, but I am planning an episode in which we will discuss kind of what's going on in our current state as far as politically, but also just getting some women who are in that space professionally to get on this show and really dig deep into abortion, the effects on the body, and of course the political stance in which our country is currently taking. So be on the lookout for that episode coming up.
Send us in some emails too of your personal stories, like especially men. I think that is a great an untouched space with abortions. So many women like talk about their abortions and get shit on for it, and there's plenty of niggas that have had 4, 5, 6 out here and don't talk about those moments. Don't talk about how abortion saved their lives or their careers or their money. So definitely share those stories with us. We'll totally be anonymous if you want us to, but just share that with us so these women know that they're not alone.
And once again, this has been yet another episode of Whoreible Decisions. Bye.
Peace.
What is the craziest thing you've seen on a flight yet? Or craziest moment?
Ooh. I think catching someone give a blowjob.
Wait, that happened on your flight too?
And to Orlando. It's a million kids
from
on that
where?
flight.
Girl, and mine was from Lauderdale.
It was Mandy.
It gotta be Florida. It just gotta be Florida, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And then
Were they short legs? Were they long?
No,
it's
was
like from
New York.
JFK to Orlando.
To Fort
Well,
Lauderdale.
bitch, y'all,
Are
that's
other
3
people
hours.
in the...
No, so they were in the back row.
And you
I'll
put
tell
a
my
little
story after.
You put a little blanket over your head, right?
No, but the flights are full. Orlando flights are
With
full of
kids, and they be
and
crying.
they run back and forth.
That's where we're from. I
And
always
we
take that
heard
flight.
and
Wait, she couldn't even give head being quiet?
No,
She not
that's how
slick.
we knew. And
Bro, shut the fuck up.
Wait,
There's a way to give
so I
head
had to
quiet,
go-
bro.
Excuse me.
Wait, you tapped her?
I
Wait,
had
on the
to.
head while
Like,
she was
it's
in
indecent.
action?
It's
You
indecent
You tapped her
exposure.
back.
Yeah, we had to tell her like, hey, there's a bathroom. Like,
Wait,
'cause-
but 2 people can't go into the bathroom.
yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
And it's not against the law, FYI.
Bitch, you're lying.
It's not.
You
It's
telling
not.
me? Why you so
Right
loud,
now.
Weezy? You loud.
You can fucking fuck in a bathroom?
But
And
do
it's
you
not
want
against the law.
to?
Yes!
Nasty.
Bitch, no, you
Ew,
don't.
No, you
No, the fuck you do not.
Let me tell you why I just
My
fucked
niggas,
up.
my niggas too
I
tall
was
for
at
that.
fucking LAX this weekend, okay? Drunk, Delta Sky Club, talking with this dude, and he's like, I bet y'all No, I wasn't on the flight with my nigga, but he bet everybody at the fucking bar $100. He's like, y'all gotta pay for my drinks. If I'm right, 2 people can go in the bathroom and you can fuck and they can't say anything to you.
They can.
And I was like, no fucking way. So someone Googled something and it proved him wrong. And he paid for all of our
Oh,
drinks.
y'all owe him some
owe
money.
him some
Cash
money.
out that nigga some money.
Technically, I have some pussy.
That too. But
So what do you?
yeah.
So you told her she could go in the bathroom. Now
Y'all about to give everybody locked up. That
I know,
listen to this
right?
goddamn
I
podcast.
know they about to all
You get in trouble. So when you act up and you don't listen to us, you get a ticket. And it's like, hey, if you don't stop, you're gonna get
What are these
TSA
people?
or whatever.
No, police.
Police.
The police.
We'll meet
PAPD.
you.
Or whoever it is.
Whoever.
I thought me and Mandy was about to get a ticket when she was loud as hell. We was on that Delta flight.
How was
She was
it?
like, I got my bathing suits, girl. I got my.
That was heading into.
no.
I wasn't. We weren't even on the plane.
I thought it was wild.
That was
something
in the air.
else.
I'm in the air.
I wish a motherfucker would tell me to shut the fuck up, bitch. No.
Nah,
hold on.
my bad experience was going over to DR, and this lady was with her.
She was selling pussy?
No, she was with her dude at the time, but her side nigga was on the plane with her as well at the same damn time. So they go to the back of the aircraft,
Oh,
and
what a tale.
the dude is asleep. And she goes to the back of the aircraft with her side dude. They go inside of the back and they're in the bathroom. I don't know if they're talking. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
You
And
know what they was doing.
yeah. So the guy comes out, the main man comes and he knocks on the door and they open the door and he slaps the shit out of her. And the side guy is just standing there like, what do I do?
Bitch, what you was doing?
What you think I was doing?
Were you just watching?
Do we have anybody?
No, I literally was like,
And I would be like, that's what the fuck you get. Trying to be
so
slick.
now we gotta call the captain, let them know that there's an emergency going on.
Oh, Nick,
She's
y'all
getting-
ain't land early for that, did y'all?
Oh no, we actually didn't land early. We diverted.
Even worse.
for
Wait,
real.
what?
Because them niggas was
Everybody-
fighting, bitch.
Yes.
How you stopped them?
You got pepper
not,
spray?
Who? Not me.
so
No.
So what do y'all do in a case of niggas? And by that I mean however you take it.
Can we tell them? Yeah. We have flexi rods.
Yeah, you restrain them. So they're like
Okay,
handcuffs.
okay, gotcha.
That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And soda.
People
And
are
a soda
always
can.
What you do with the soda can?
Throw it at them.
I'm done with y'all.
No,
Can y'all
that
stop, please?